So join us as we turn all of this goodness into 2 amazing recipes to be canned. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Two Bears Homestead. Thank you for joining us today. So today we are doing 2 recipes for canning, and it is pork. I have a lot of pork on hand, and I have a quarter of a cow coming later this week. So I need to make room in my freezer, and the best way to make room is to get stuff out and process it into something else, whether it's shelf stable or just eat it. So we're going the shelf stable route because there's only so much pork you can eat at one time. So the pulled pork, the recipe that I'm going to be doing, the barbecue pulled pork recipe that I'm going to be doing, is right out of this book. And I think everybody should have this book on their shelf. I think it's important, it's a good resource, and what's good about it is it shows you other recipes that springboard off of some of the canning recipes. So it's a good, of the canning book, this is a pretty good edition. So I would highly recommend you get this on your bookshelf. So that's my shameless plug for this book. The other recipe I'm doing is based on the barbecue pulled pork recipe that I'm doing, and it's called MOJO Pork. Basically the processes are still the same, so I'm confident that it's safe canning, so I feel good about that. MOJO pork, if you've never had it or don't know what it is, and for my my Spanish viewers, I may butcher this a little bit, but please forgive me. I'm not any kind of expert on MOJO pork. I just have my way of doing it, and people seem to really like it. So, but essentially MOJO pork is a Cumin dish, and it is super citrusy, lots of bitter orange, lime, and oranges, and the marinade also has like olive oil, cumin, lots of garlic. I mean, the base recipe is like 10 cloves of garlic, lots of garlic, cilantro, a little bit of mint. I think I already mentioned cumin, and it's really that simple. So there are different variations of that. So if you're out looking online for different things, you'll find different ways of doing it. Like some put onion in it, some don't put onion in it. I like onion in mine. I don't put a lot, but I do like onion in it because I think it adds a little extra layer of flavor. So in the traditional way of making the pork is marinated overnight in this, this marinade. There are different ways of prepping it for the marinade. So I'm not going to go there with this video because that's not the intent of this video. But when you cook it, you slow cook it in the oven, and like the slow roast, like the fat cap caramelizes, and it's like crispy, and it is so good. And then you just let it rest, and then you slice it, and you serve it over rice or with plantains or however you're going to do it, and it is amazing. It is so good. So I thought with that, using the base marinated minus the oil, minus the fresh cilantro and the mint, because I think that would get bitter in canning. I think it'll be really good. And in the canning process, it'll get tender, and you can use it like a pulled pork, but it'll be a pulled MOJO pork. And I think that would be really good on tacos, or even over rice, or in a rice bowl, some kind of thing. Maybe even like a sandwich. So I think that it'll be a win, but it is an experiment, so I will absolutely be opening a jar and tasting the MOJO pork. Now the barbecue pulled pork out of this, I know it's going to be good, so I don't need to really, I trust that it's going to be delicious. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do that, we're going to do both in the same video, we're going to keep it as quick as we can, and I would love to hear your comments on the processes, so here we go. Okay, so in the pot, in your Dutch oven, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in 1.5 cups of chopped onions, and then to the 1.5 cups of onions, it is 1.5 cups of ketchup. Now, I'm just using my own home canned ketchup, so that is the ketchup that's going in, and it's lower in some of the sugar, but boy, is it really good, high on flavor, very good. So it is the ketchup, and then there is a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, firmly packed light brown sugar, and there's a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, and there is 3 cloves of garlic, and after the 3 cloves of garlic, there is in here 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, or as my uncle used to say, what's this here sauce? Now I can never figure out how to say it either, but my uncle, I believe he was from North Carolina, he could never say Worcestershire or Worcester sauce, so we call it what's this here sauce. So we're going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of what's this here sauce, 2 tablespoons of brown mustard, and 2 tablespoons of honey, all right in. What's this here sauce? I mean, that'll stick with me the rest of my life. I mean, my uncle was one of those characters. And then get all this stuff in and just it gets mixed up. Smells amazing. Then to this, we want to add about, the recipe calls for 4 to 5 pounds of boneless pork shoulder roast, Boston butt, cut into large chunks. So I have that all cut to large chunks. Now, because I was cutting it off the roast myself, I went through the roast and I pulled some of the gristle out. I think it was important to do that because I didn't want to put too much fat in it because we are canning it, but I did want to get some flavor in there. So we'll get that all in there. Let's get it all mixed. This is what oranges off the trees look like. They are not the pretty stuff you see in the supermarket. Okay, for the mojo marinade, or the mojo, I decided, just thinking about it a little bit before getting to this, I decided to go ahead and get a little bit of fresh cilantro and a little bit of fresh mint, which is going to be about 2 tablespoons, excuse me. And because it's going to go in the pot and it's going to get par cooked, so I thought instead of, that the cilantro is not going into the jar in the raw state, that it's actually going to cook a little bit. So I said, let's go ahead and give that a try because I'm confident with that. So basically, here is the mojo marinade. So we're going to basically, we have about 3/4 of a cup of fresh squeezed orange juice and a little bit more than a half a cup of fresh lime juice. And to that is the cilantro that we're going to use, the cilantro and the mint. So we'll throw that in there. And then it's roughly here, it is, I would venture to say that's probably about a cup of chopped up onions, more finely chopped than I did with the barbecue. I think this recipe calls for a little bit more of a finely chopped, in my mind anyway. And then we have here 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to over salt and pepper it. I just want to keep it as simple as possible. And get all that in there. Then here is, I counted about 8 or 9 cloves of garlic, but there's about 8 or 9 cloves of garlic there. I'm going to get that in there. It's a lot of garlic. It really is. And then also from the oranges that we squeezed, I got about 1.5 tablespoons of orange zest. So that's going right in there as well. So that's it. That's pretty much the base of the marinade. You just want to get that all mixed together. It smells amazing. I don't know if you can see it. It's just absolutely delicious. And that's it. It's really that simple. Okay, so here we have the 2 porks. This one over here is the barbecue pork. Looks delicious, absolutely delicious. And here is the mojo pork. If you could smell this, you would be like just blown away. I mean, both, there's so much aroma coming from just these 2 pots. These aren't even cooked yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these on the stove. We're going to go ahead and just get them up to a low boil. We're not cooking the meat all the way through. We're just getting everything hot. That's all we're doing here. And then we're going to go ahead and process it. This is the mojo, and it is looking delicious. It appears that all jars have sealed. I've got pings on all of them so far, so I'm happy to see that. And then over here is the barbecue beef, and they're still doing their thing. They just came out of the canner. Again, all jars here have pinged, so I'm very happy with these results. And let's see, I can't wait to try that mojo. Hey everybody, it is the next night after work. We just got home and we wanted to try this for dinner. So we have some out. I heated it up just on the stovetop, the liquid and all. So the mojo pork comes, you know, just as in the chunks, but it's like, it's super, I don't know if you can see that in the video. I'm trying not to drop it on the floor. I mean, it's just falling apart. I mean, it's delicious looking. So let's give it a shot. Get a piece. That's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Shut the front door. That is really good. This, don't mind us, we're just gonna eat for a second on video. Because it is dinner time.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
So what did you do differently on the canned version versus the what you make fresh daily for a meal?
Well, when you make the mojo pork, the marinade has oil in it. So obviously, because you're canning it, I omitted the oil.
Yeah.
And it calls for a lot of cilantro. So I you know, obviously with canning, I wasn't sure how the cilantro would react in the pressure canning. So I decided I only put a little bit in the cooking process that they saw in the video earlier, but I didn't put the full amount in. So this can be garnished with fresh lime and cilantro. And that's really it.
Well, I mean, I can taste the lime and citrus in this already.
Oh yeah, it's definitely citrus forward. It's delicious. It's really good. I'm really, really happy with it.
Yeah.
So this would be awesome, just shredded over rice with black beans. This would be great in a Cumin sandwich. Even like a Cumin pulled pork sandwich if you wanted a traditional, you know, pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no complaints about this at all. This was an experiment that was a wild success in my eyes. I think this is delicious. Now, it doesn't really look all that great in the jar. You know, I mean, it doesn't look great in the jar.
It's canned meat. I don't know if any canned meat that looks good in a jar.
But like it looks can be seedy. It is absolutely delicious. And then this is the barbecue. That light is kind of screwing me up a little bit. But this is the barbecue. So I'm not going to open the barbecue because I know that it's going to taste good. Plus I tasted it before I put it in the can. So, but this mojo was out of this world. So I'm very, very pleased with this. I think this is going to be a huge win on our shelves. And yeah, so ready to take lunches for you to take to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else?
I may need to can up some more though if I'm going to be taking this to work.
Yeah, this is a lot of food. I mean, this is like a pound of food. So
yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of it. So we really appreciate you following us along. I hope I inspired you to try some different canning methods and recipes. I will type up the proportions of the ingredients that I used for the mojo pork. I followed, again, like I said, the Ball Book of Canning, this book. So I followed the barbecue pulled pork recipe directions, or the processes. So the processes were the same. So like I said, I highly suggest you have this book on your bookshelf. This is a great book. There are some other really good recipes in here I'm going to try. That's about it. So let's heat this up. Let's have ourselves some dinner.
All right, sounds good.
Hungry?
Yeah.
All right. So hit the like and subscribe button. Tell a friend about us. The best way you can help us on our channel is to share on social media. Tell your friends about us. We love doing this. We love sharing our journey, and hopefully we inspire somebody else. So anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
See you next time.